Victoria Canal, welcome to eTown.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. You sound great.
Thank you.
It sounds like you've had a really supportive family, albeit a nomadic family. I don't know what that's all about, but you've lived in a lot of places.
Yeah, thanks to when my parents got married, they had this dream of traveling the world by bike. And then I think like a couple months into their journey, my mom got pregnant. So that plan changed. And they ended up taking us with them instead when we were all born. So.
Is your mom an architect, is that right?
Yeah, she studied architecture, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and was it your grandmother who gave you piano lessons when you were really young?
Yeah, that's how I first got into music. I would watch her play at church, and she used to give lessons, and I just loved it from the first moment I ever heard her play.
I should point out to our listeners that you were born without a right forearm, and so I can't help but see the genius in your grandmother's suggestion. I mean, just giving you piano lessons when you were 6, or...
Yeah, a little bit younger than that.
Just saying you can do this.
Yeah, influencing my parents to put me into lessons. But it was really, my first piano teacher never really pushed me to play with more than just my left hand. And it was my mom that said, hey, Mr. Teacher, you should, make her play with both because it's going to help her. And I don't think they really knew I was going to do music. I always knew I wanted to do music, but... I don't think you can ever really predict what your kid is actually going to get into.
Never, yeah. And do you worry that your handicap, your handicap as such as it is getting too much attention in your story, or does the music always lead the way, or?
I mean, if I'm more concerned with myself, then yeah, it would bother me. But the truth of the matter is, some people just need to see someone who's differently able to doing something they love and not letting anything get in the way of doing that. So I would think it would be rather selfish of me to say like, no, don't look and just listen to the music, because then maybe you won't feel as inspired. But hopefully the music speaks for itself as well.
Yeah.
So. Thanks.
And when did you? Because I know you studied jazz and you were at Berkeley and you're still in college. But when did you kind of find inspiration in pop music? And who were the artists that got you aiming in that direction?
I remember listening to Man in the Mirror for the first time when I was really young. My brother showed me all the music that he loved, and it included Michael and, not Franti, Michael Jackson, another Michael, and John Mayer and Stevie Wonder. My parents have always loved classical music, So I feel like I grew up with a vast array of just loving a lot of different kinds of vocalists and a lot of kinds of songwriting. Yeah.
Yeah. And what led you to Justin Bieber's vocal coach?
Oh yeah. Well, I had an opera coach, and that wasn't working out because I wanted to switch over to contemporary. And I think my mom and I were just watching that Bieber documentary, and she came up, and she's based in Atlanta, where my grandparents are from. And my mom was like, "We should send her an email. It'll be great." And so we did. And like a year later, by the time I made it back to Atlanta, we started working together.
Wild. And what kind of stuff did you learn?
Oh my God, from her.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of nuance, warming up and cooling down, treating your voice like a muscle, your throat like a muscle, and treating yourself like an athlete in terms of maintenance. I learned a little bit about the recording process because she actually took me under her wing, and we recorded my first EP together.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
Wild. So it was another really positive experience.
Yeah. I feel really lucky for all the mentors that have come into my life, like Michael Franti this time, and not Jackson. Oh my gosh. I feel really, really lucky for everybody who's come into my life and taught me something. And sometimes it's not even someone in music, Sometimes it's just someone who you meet in your life who teaches you so much about yourself, and those people are the people to cherish and remember.
And did I read this right, that you're young and you're just kind of beginning your touring, but somehow along the way, you also, while you're traveling and playing gigs, raised money for meals for people who...
So my first ever tour was an open mic tour, and I was trying to get to 15,000 likes on my Facebook page. And for every like, I would donate $1 to Serve International. And Serve International is a an organization that funds meals for underprivileged communities. Yeah. So that was like my first stepping. So also interestingly enough, I did that tour with my mom. Hi, Mom. And she's here. She came all the way from Amsterdam, where she lives, just to see me at Red Rocks tomorrow. My music's really mellow, so when Franti reached out and said, "Do you want to play for 10,000 people?" I was like, "Dude, are you sure?" But I'm feeling so excited about that show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Are you guys coming? Any of you?
Tomorrow night?
Yes! I'm so happy to hear that. Make sure to show up at 7, because that's when I play. Instead of at 9:30, you should come a little early.
It's so funny because I think about, the sort of in some ways the unlikeliness of all of this, that here you are, you're playing Red Rocks tomorrow and you've already had all these crazy interactions and done all this amazing stuff. Yeah. And yet at the same time, I kind of don't think you're really surprised by all of this. This is sort of like this is just working your plan, right?
You know what, Nick? I planned my life out by decades, and I have ever since I was like 6.
That's wild.
And I haven't hit 20 yet, but I'm hitting my 20s phase where it's like giving all into my career, and I'm just doing it like a couple years early, which is fine. And I'm confident about it because there have been enough people that told me just to keep going. And I might, make a bad song or there might be a ton of people who don't like my music, but I feel confident that there are already people who love what I'm doing just for who I am. And I think everybody deserves to know that confidence within themselves. And if you don't, come give me a hug and I'll tell you how amazing you are, because you're amazing. So yeah.
Okay. This is a force of nature. We're gonna be hearing from you for a while. Last question before we get back to music. Just so thinking about these, so Michael Jackson's off the list, but are there some dream collaborators that you'd like to tell me a couple that you just like? Yeah, on my 20s plan. I've got a little small list of people I want to sing and record with, and that includes.
Oh my gosh, how long can the list be?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll give you 3. First one, Michael Franti, check. Second one, oh my gosh, Stevie. Yeah. I would just love to sit next to him. I recorded at Electric Lady Studios last year, and if you guys know the place, it's so vibey. Like the room, there's just been so much good music that comes through there. And I sat at Stevie's freaking Rhodes. I played it and it was amazing, and I felt like the melodies coming to me just like backwards energy. Anyway, sorry. So Stevie and JT, Justin Timberlake, would be an awesome collab because he's funky, groovy, and kind of like sassy. I'm really into Janelle Monáe.
Yeah.
And have you guys seen the music videos?
She's
that
sassy.
Coming out? Yeah. And Prince wrote, rest in peace. Prince wrote a couple of songs for her, and they just sound amazing. So I would love to explore art with her.
Okay. Well, good luck working your plan.
Thanks, man.
And meanwhile, I'm glad it included Stop at eTown. We'll get back to music. Welcome back, Victoria Canal.